Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show. Hawks lose 3-1 in Boston, but Connor Bedard scored his first goal as a Blackhawk. Yay!
Yay!
We're happy to see you again. We feel like we just left you a few hours ago, which we kind of technically did.
We sure did.
Thanks for being here. We're going to be here for you for the next hour or so. We've got to give you our your fourth star. We'll tell you about that here in a moment, who you can vote for. We're going to break the game down. If you are just joining the postgame and missed the game, Taylor Hall left the game with an injury. We're waiting to hear an update on that. So lots to stay tuned for on this one. No, it won't be as fun as last night, but there's still some good stuff to take away from this one.
Yes, I would say there's still plenty of positives to come away from this one, but definitely last night's comeback effort was a highlight. No comeback effort tonight, but I will say it's not for a lack of trying. I think the Blackhawks were still in this game, even being down 2-1 in the third period, still fighting, still trying to get that equalizing goal, and kind of to the point of what we talked about last night. At no points did I feel like, well, that's it. Now they're down. There's no way they can come back. Like, this team feels like it is built to be able to make comebacks. And tonight, they weren't able to get it done. Last night they did, but it still just felt like it wasn't a wash once they didn't have the lead.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky said as much as we were waiting to start the show on the postgame, just saying how impressed he was with the Hawks' level of compete and, making a note of you're going into Pittsburgh, their home opener, with their massive trade of Erik Karlsson, tons of excitement, tons of expectation there. They come out with a win. They go to the 100th anniversary celebration of the Boston Bruins,
right.
Their home opener, a ton of excitement, a ton of distraction, and they hung right with them. Look, there's going to be times this season where the ice is tilted in favor of the opponent often. When you have three rookie defensemen playing, it's going to look like that. And keep in mind, you lose Taylor Hall, who is a 200-foot player, right? Effective at all ends. You lose Jason Dickinson for mostly the entire third period. So you're doing makeshift lines. You're down two of your better defensive players. It was kind of a recipe for disaster. And the fact that it took Boston an empty netter with less than a minute to go to seal this win, it's a good sign. And I want to – Merrick says in the chat that the officials blew ass tonight.
Jeff Merrick?
I agree with that. And I think if you've watched the show before, we're not people that are like, the refs are screwing us. We're not like that, but there were a lot of bad calls. Yeah. The Kaiser cross-check was a nothing. The Bedard trip on Brad Marchand, where Bedard went to finish a check on Marchand, and Marchand kind of just skirts away so their knees hit, and they call it a trip on Bedard. I watched the replay to see, did we miss something? Did something else happen down the ice? No, just a soft call. Then Cole Gutman gets boarded. And because Jason Dickinson comes to his defense, that all evens out. There's no power play there. So this game really could have gone either way. Were the Bruins the better team? There's no doubt about it. Are the Bruins expected to be the better team? Yes. So, look, it's disappointing, but I still think it's encouraging that despite everything this team was up against tonight, they were able to hang in a hostile environment and hang.
Second night of back-to-backs, too.
Yeah, back-to-back nights. And I heard Kyle Davidson interview earlier today on the score. They got into Boston at like 2:30 in the morning. So
rough.
As we were getting up to leave for our flight.
Yeah. Basically.
It was Arvid Soderblom that kept him in this game. He was fantastic. Back-to-back nights of really good goaltending, with Peter Mrazek making 38 saves last night, Soderblom tonight. Gave him a shot to win. They just couldn't put it. You look at the Corsi numbers at 5-on-5. Bruins 64 shot attempts to 39 for the Blackhawks.
Felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so just a 37.8 Corsi for percentage at 5-on-5 for the Blackhawks. Not going to get it done. And the only line that seemed to produce anything for the Blackhawks, no matter who was on it, was the Connor Bedard line. Nothing much beyond that. At least, anything sustainable. Last night we raved about the depth of this team, and tonight it was like kind of back to last year. Well, we got one line.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have these nights. I mean, it's an 82-game season. It's the second of a back-to-back.
Oh, and especially without Hall and Dickinson.
Exactly. You lost Taylor Hall, who was fantastic in that first.
Really
period.
good game. Yeah.
Had the first shot on goal. Definitely looked like he was playing with a chip on his shoulder against his former team. Had the primary assist on the Bedard goal, and then just took that that hit in the neutral zone early in the second period. Tried to come back, and then left. Hopefully, they're just being cautious.
Yeah, I think the fact that he gave it a shot is probably a decent sign. If it was something like season-ending or long-term, he probably wouldn't have tried to come back at all.
He left on his own power, tried to give it another whirl, and then came back, and then went back to the locker room. So I would assume it's more of those, hey, it's just night 2. Let's not push it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But you saw how once he left the game.
We have an update on Taylor Hall. Luke Richardson says Taylor Hall is likely week to week.
No, that's not good.
So that's not good.
Rough.
Yeah. That's a rough one.
It is. And,
So
and to know that right away, it looked, he was hit up high. So I don't know if it was a shoulder.
It looks like a shoulder. And if I recall correctly, this was, probably 10 years ago or whatever, but he had a shoulder injury, a pretty decent, I know he had surgery on his shoulder at one point. So something to keep an eye on. It's not good. If we get the Luke Richardson audio by the time the show ends, we'll share it with you. But let's get into this and what this means here coming up next. But we want to let you know about the 3 stars of the game. None of them Blackhawks, so who cares? Frederick, Pasternak, Ullmark, 3-2-1. Great. If you want to vote for our 4-star of the night, you can do that on our YouTube page, youtube.com/CHGO Sports. You're there now, so thank you. Smash that like button and subscribe while you're there, by the way. Your nominees for tonight, Arvid Soderblom, Connor Bedard, and Kevin Korchinski. And Bedard was great. There's no doubt about it. My fear is that, anytime we have him there, he's going to win. Arvid Soderblom was great in this game.
Yeah.
He kept the Hawks in this game, and it's 2 nights in a row where you had some outstanding goaltending. So, personally, I'm giving Soderblom my vote. He had, I'm going to go through the stats here so you know exactly what you're voting for. Soderblom stopped 30
of 32.
30 of 32, yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, him and Mrazek, back-to-back nights. If we talk about it this year, Blackhawks needing, NHL average goaltending to be an upgrade from what they got last year. I know it's just 2 games, it's 1 start for each of them, but if these are the versions that Soderblom and Mrazek can hopefully emulate, they're going to keep them in a lot of games.
For sure. I mean, I said, this team could definitely go from 59 to 70 points if they get average goaltending. But if we get what we've seen through the first 2 games, it could exceed that.
You can win a lot of games only allowing 2 goals.
Yes, you can. And that's what their 2 goalies have done through 2 games. Yes, there was the empty netter at the end there. Soderblom gets my 4-star vote, no doubt. He was the best player for the Hawks. If he doesn't play as well as he did, the Hawks, that game is over early. He made a couple amazing saves.
Yeah.
Going from right to left, just getting his toe on a couple shots. Great job
saves
for him. I mean, listen, before yesterday's game, if you said you were leaving, you were heading north of the border tonight, would have split?
Yeah, you take that.
You take it.
Absolutely.
You absolutely take it.
Especially if you say, you win 1 by 2 and the other one is they need an empty netter to seal it.
I mean, you kind of, I don't say you want to expect a little bit of a letdown after last night, but you're not surprised that the way they came back and won, and then you lose Taylor Hall. You don't have Dickinson for almost the entire end of regulation. And when you lose Hall, you got to put guys out of place. You
already have Kurashev out.
Yeah, Anthony Ciu moved up to the top line, played well. And then, we saw Lucas Reichel getting some shifts with Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, let's get into the top line thing here in a second. But just to fill out the last 4 stars, Bedard had a goal -1. He took a penalty. It was a BS call, but whatever. 6 shots on goal. 1 more shot attempt was credited with a hit, a giveaway, and won 6 and lost 6 faceoffs, so 50% for him. And then Kevin Korchinski, who has put 2 nice games together in a row, finishes -1, but 21:48 of ice time, 3 shot attempts, another missed shot, and 5 block shots. Korchinski looks really confident. We tweeted out, or I tweeted out earlier today. Is it Daryl Belfry? That's the hockey coach's name, who put out a really cool video about Kevin Korchinski and how instinctually he plays. Go check that out when you get a chance. It's really good stuff. So those are your nominees: Korchinski, Soderblom, and Bedard. So vote right there on our YouTube. So yeah, now for Hawks hits today, the topic I'm writing about is Lucas Reichel, and now he hasn't really produced throughout his first 2 games here. And if the Hawks had not landed Connor Bedard, Lucas Reichel would be the top story this year. It'd be the thing we're talking about the most. We'd probably have Lucas's corner or something like that to do during the postgame show.
Yeah.
He would be the main focus. And because of the spotlight on Bedard, he's lost a little bit of that spotlight a little bit, which I'm sure he welcomes. But now he has some real expectations to produce. Like, he's a full-time NHLer. He's playing center, second line. Hasn't done much offensively until it's late, you're down 2 players, and Luke puts him on the top line with Bedard and Athanasiou. He looked like a different guy.
His game is, I think, based off of a lot of subtlety. I think he's not going out there burning guys with speed all that much. Like, that's not he's not going to go out and do that like as if Athanasiou or McDavid would do. And he's not a flashy stick handler like we see from Bedard with, doing toe drags and going between his legs and stuff like that. But it's just very subtle little plays that, he can keep a play alive or keep possession or, make a sneaky pass and things like that. So I think when he's put with the right guys, like you said, like being up with Bedard and Athanasiou, like that's why the Kurashev, Reichel, Athanasiou line was looking like it was clicking so well throughout the training camp and the preseason, is because you match him up with guys that are kind of similar skill level, similar playmaking abilities, and guys that can, Reichel can make a sneaky pass that, jumps Athanasiou with his speed, or, sets up Kurashev to shoot, or, Kurashev can create space and Reichel can take advantage of it. So I think he's gonna matching him up with a guy like Taylor Radish or Boris Tkachuk. Like, I don't think that really fits him that well. So I liked that late in the game he was able to be put with Bedard. It's one of those you're chasing a goal scenarios. So we'll see what happens with Hall being out. Kurashev's still out, but I think if he has quiet games, it's going to be hard to knock him, because I don't think he's a guy that has too many loud games, if that makes sense.
No, you're right. I mean, you've liked to make the comparison to Teuvo Teravainen.
Yeah.
And Teuvo Teravainen is not a flashy guy.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that goes...
And it took him a few years.
Yeah, and he's not a guy that goes, oh, my God, Teuvo Teravainen's taking over this game. No, he makes those subtle plays.
Yeah.
He sets up his teammates. He'll score a goal here, but he's not the driving force.
Yeah.
Lucas Reichel had a really good thing going with Kurashev and Athanasiou in training camp. Kurashev gets hurt. Athanasiou gets sick, misses a couple days. I heard Luke Richardson driving in on the WGN 720 pregame show with our guy Troy Murray, talking about Athanasiou, about how he was on the fourth line last night, and he just said, well, he wanted to make sure he was ready. His first couple practices after coming back from that illness, he just wasn't completely there. Obviously, he felt he was fine tonight, bumping him up. But yeah, I think Reichel serves better playing between those two guys. They're fast guys. They can keep up with him. You know, if he's in between Tyler Johnson and Taylor Radish, it's kind of a clash of styles there. But he's going to have to learn how to adapt and play with those guys. So, you know, he had confidence with Kurashev and Athanasiou. Then he gets the change where now he's playing with guys who aren't as fast, play different, not as creative. He's got to make those adjustments. But again, 21-year-old kid.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Yeah,
I just
nobody was overreacting
Yeah,
to declaring
no,
that Lucas Reichel's a bust.
Right.
Not at all.
But yeah, you would have liked to seen a little more from him these first 2 games. But it's 2 of 82. Long way to go.
Yeah. It's just I think that, you know, as we talk about, you know, last year felt like nothing mattered. This year there are some things that matter, and we're going to put special attention on it. It's going to be the same thing with Bedard, and it might feel like, you know, discussing like, hey, today wasn't great, feels like a panic. It's not. It's just an observation, and there's nothing like I see him on the ice still with the speed and the confidence, and that it'll come. It'll come, but I think we're past the moral victory phase now.
I'm all moral victoried out from last year.
Yeah, like
I'd like actual victories. Last night.
And it's more about the victories of the individual players rather than like wins and losses victories.
Right, yeah.
I just want to see Reichel get better and et cetera. So here's another comment, by the way, from Luke Richardson. This is from Mark Lazarus. Laz says, Taylor Hall is week to week with an upper body injury. Luke Richardson wasn't happy with Brandon Carlo's blindsided hit. Luke says, quote, I know exactly what it was. I used to do it all the time, but that's out of the league now.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Maybe there's a receipt coming next time. They're here rather quickly, Boston.
They are the second home game after Vegas, I think.
Next Tuesday. So they're here.
And I think that's the only time they play them.
Yeah, so maybe there'll be some receipts dished out that night. You know, maybe that first shift, Jared Tenorti says, hey, Mr. Carlo, come here for a second. I would like to rearrange your face.
I put this over here and this over here.
I know a thing or two about rearranged jaws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got some good soup recommendations for you after I break your face.
Well, it sucks that Dickinson got the instigator. I mean, that's the rule. He's got to know that.
And if the refs blow the whistle, he probably doesn't jump him.
Yeah, or if there's an arm up.
Whoever made the hit, Beecher. Yeah, he probably doesn't do that.
Well, how you had to talk about that being a penalty.
Right.
What are you watching?
Yeah, it was
what
clear.
game are you? That if you're showing the preseason video on what's a penalty and what's not, that is exhibit A of what boarding is.
Yeah.
Gutman's got his back turned.
It's not time.
Sometimes guys will turn quickly and it ends to an awkward play.
He's standing there. He sees Gutman 7-0 for a good 3 seconds and still goes through and follows through the hit. And kudos to Jason Dickinson. I wasn't mad that they lost the power play there. I was mad that he had to go do that.
Right.
Like, kudos to Jason Dickinson. He got a couple good shots in there.
I was mad that wasn't a major on Beecher.
It was a dangerous play.
And Charlie McAvoy got Gutman too from behind later in the third period.
Tough guy, Charlie McAvoy.
I was like, can Gutman stop getting drilled in the numbers?
He's got the new Lucas Reichel or the new Marcus Kruger role.
Yeah, jeez.
Somebody just asked Michael Evans, why was there a game misconduct? Is that new with fighting? You get the game misconduct
on the instigator.
Instigator is
it was
automatic.
It was a 10, not a game.
Right. Yeah. You get an automatic misconduct 10-minute major. So an instigator is an automatic 17 minutes. 2 for the instigation, 5 for fighting,
and 10
for the misconduct. So
and it happened with like 16 minutes left to play in the game. So it essentially
it ended his night.
Yeah.
So you're down 2 forwards trying to chase a goal. Just, and they still nearly tied the game.
Yeah, they had good chances.
And then Connor Bedard gave us a
scare.
A scare. He went awkwardly in the boards and was kind of like, looked like, he was holding an arm or a wrist there for a second, but didn't come off the ice. So
they showed him the next shift after break. Right at the face-off, you saw Beecher say something, and you saw very clearly Bedard say, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So he asked about it, which is cool, I guess, after almost killing somebody. That's fine. All right, before we take our first break, next game is Saturday. What are you doing with Reichel? You got him on the top line, keeping him at center. What are you doing? Maybe it depends on Kurashev's status too.
Well, Kurashev didn't go on the trip.
They're not going to come home
initially.
real quick?
No.
They're practicing in Montreal.
They'll probably
the next
stay
2 days.
tonight and then fly to Montreal in the morning.
Yeah, they're practicing in Montreal on Friday.
Yeah,
so.
especially if they didn't get in until super late last night.
He didn't make the trip, and he hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
So I think
I wouldn't imagine
the earliest we see Kurashev, and I doubt would be the home opener. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe he goes to Colorado for the last game of the road trip.
They're going to come home for that because they have
in between Toronto
on
and
Monday
Chicago.
And then Thursday, so they'll definitely come home to Chicago and so we'll see.
I like TJ Hello's idea.
Sign Kessel.
Sign Kessel. You got a fresh Phil Kessel just waiting to come off the couch and play with Connor Bedard. It just seems too perfect. Too perfect.
The chips have fallen.
Well, a couple other suggestions too is you've got Mackenzie Entwistle sitting there, and you could slot everybody up a line.
Yeah,
you're not going to play him on the top line.
Yeah, but that's the thing with having Kurashev and Hall gone. You don't have a guy that's like a top 6 guy that's ready to go unless you go down and bring Colton Dock, but he was hurt. So where do you go?
And that's the thing is, so now that's why I'm sort of suggesting that maybe you put Reichel there, load up that top line, and then you put Tyler Johnson in that center spot, or
you can move Athanasiou to center.
There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah.
But I think Bedard's good enough to kind of carry a line as long as you give him guys that can help him get the puck.
Yeah, I don't think you need to load up with Reichel and Bedard. Maybe you make that switch if you're down a goal in the third period, like tonight.
Yeah, like tonight. And that was pretty effective when they did that.
Yeah, you gotta. Bedard's good enough to where I think keep Athanasiou up there with Donato. That's a good. They were good together. And then on that second line, do you keep Reichel with Radish and Johnson? There's really not a lot of options because that in less than 24 hours we went from, oh my God, this team is so deep, to shit. Now what do we do?
The Taylor Hall thing. The Hall thing is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like
just
if you lose, if you lose Tyler Johnson for a couple of weeks, you've got guys that can play that type of game, or if you lose, Corey Perry goes down for a couple of weeks, you've got guys like that. But Taylor Hall, you don't have anybody with that offensive ability to kind of take that spot. So someone's gonna have to step up. I'm guessing Mackenzie Entwistle will make his season debut against the Canadians.
Because then so if you put Athanasiou up there, then you have Reichel with Johnson and Radish, then your third line basically becomes what, Kachuk, Gutman, Entwistle?
Yeah. Probably. I mean,
it's not ideal.
Maybe
you want to keep Foligno, Perry, and Dickinson together.
They're
working well.
Do you maybe put Gutman up as a winger with Johnson and Reichel and maybe get a little offensive there, and then you could put Entwistle, Radish, and Kachuk together?
Because Entwistle can play some center too.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to make that call, but it definitely seems.
It's a nice thing about having some versatility with some guys that can do center and wing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could take Donato off the wing and put him in center somewhere, but he's been lousy at the face-off dots.
Yeah, and he's been working well with Bedard, so I'd rather keep those two together than not at all.
All right, we got a bunch of super chats to get to on the other side. We're also going to update the 4-star voting so far. We got almost 300 votes already. Lots of people watching, not a lot of likes. Hit that like button for us, and we'll get to your super chats on the other side of this break.
Hey, last night was a lot of fun. Blackhawks get the win. Tonight, not as fun. Blackhawks don't come out on the winning side, but you can always come out on the winning side when you walk in and walk out of the Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your football or hockey season this year. No matter where you are on your cannabis journey, they have easy online ordering and in-store pickup options available. And they have a great transparent loyalty program called Sunny Side Rewards. And they have a ton of in-house brands like Mindy's, the best tasting gummy chocolate and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel, along with Cresco Labs. They also have the Good News gummies they have the Good News, which come in gummies, rechargeable vape pens, and carts, perfect for great moments with your crew. They also have Cresco, High Supply, FloraCal, Wonder, Remedy, so many options from Sunnyside. Now through October 15th, head over to sunnyside.shop and use the promo code CHGO25 at checkout. When you do that, you're going to get 25% off of your total order. Again, that's promo code CHGO25. One use per customer. It is not stackable with other promotions, but it's not only for new customers. Anyone can use that CHGO25 code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your football and hockey seasons. Must be 21 or older or an Illinois medical card holder.
You know what goes great with cannabis products?
Lots of things.
Bacon products.
Yes.
And there is no better place to get your bacon products than from our friend, Charlie the Bacon Guy, based in Woodridge. He makes craft bacon. You didn't know craft bacon was a thing?
It is.
Yes, it certainly is. Bacon jams, over 30 different flavors. Charlie's Bacon is always all natural. There are no preservatives in his products. You can order tons of it. It's vacuum sealed. It freezes great. Bacon lasts in the package up to 45 days in your fridge and 6 months in the freezer. It's really longer than that. He's just being careful. Bacon jam lasts about 60 days in the fridge and about 4 seconds when I get it.
Yeah, 4 seconds on your plate.
Who's
about
keeping
right.
bacon around for 6 months?
Sometimes it slides down into the chest freezer. Sometimes.
Or if you buy it in large enough quantities.
Yeah, you buy it bulk.
Who's keeping bacon around long enough to even put it in the freezer in the first place?
Fair
That's
point
true.
by you. Check out some of Charlie's flavors. Maple pepper, French toast, chorizo, my favorite, the jardiniere. He's got the ranch bacon, which is also killer. So much good stuff. And this week I know he's working on Old Bay bacon.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of oohs in the office when I said that.
Old Bay. Old
So-
Bay is my new Bay.
Is that a Maine seasoning? Old
Yeah, it's
Bay?
like a crab seasoning kind of a thing.
I've had it. I just didn't know where it like kind of originated
good.
from.
Don't you throw in like your crab boils?
Crab boils.
Crab
Sausage
boil.
boils.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if if you're not sure what bacon jam is, it's like a
delicious.
bacon relish almost, maybe a little bit thicker than that.
So good.
You put it on top of a burger, scrambled eggs, anything you want to do with
Just
it. It's
scoop
incredible.
it like cereal.
Yeah, it's so damn good. So here's how you get your bacon from Charlie the Bacon Guy. Hit him up on Instagram at Charlie the Bacon Guy, Twitter at CZ the Bacon Guy, or send him an email, charliethebaconguy@gmail.com. His website is coming soon as well. And Charlie joins us in a chat saying, Old Bay coming to the office near you soon.
Sweet.
Hell,
Oh, there's a joke I wanted to make
Yes.
there, but I'm going to let it go.
I cannot wait to try the
You
Old
don't
Bay.
want
I
your
love Old Bay
coming to the
anything.
office?
I have Old Bay sunflower seeds, but Old Bay bacon is a different level.
Any bacon Charlie makes is at a different level.
Yeah.
James corrects us. Old Bay is Maryland. Yes, that makes sense.
Maryland.
Crab
Okay.
cakes and football. That's what Maryland does.
That's
Cool.
true. Crab cakes, football, and Old
It's
Bay.
delicious. It's good stuff. Before we move on to our next whatever we were going to talk about, somebody in the comments,
Hockey.
Mark W. had a decent point. Connor Garland's out there. Taylor Hall's going to be out for a while.
He is.
He's been given permission
Yeah.
by the Vancouver Canucks to seek out a trade.
Done.
Not a lot of leverage there for the Vancouver Canucks.
4.9 million for 2 more years for Connor Garland.
Okay.
And why
It's
not?
fine.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the brakes. What I was going to say that I am breaking on is I think it's safe to say they're not going to be horrible like they were last year.
No,
So
I don't
why
think
not
so.
bring in someone that can help them be a little bit better?
If Taylor Hall,
Taylor Hall and Connor Garland, like that's kind of a wash, right?
I mean, if Taylor Hall is going to be out for more than 2 weeks,
Yeah, if it's
Make a
week, if
call.
it's
And what-
week
and what-
to week, and you're talking about getting into like November, December, January.
if he's only going to be out for, he'll be back November 1st. Okay,
Right, then
you
you-
survive.
you
Yeah.
survive
If he's
without
not
it.
out, if he's going to be gone till December, January, get it.
I think too.
Even if he's not, go get him.
You also, for the guys that were here last year, Jones, Murphy, Tenorti, Johnson, on and on and on, do something to reward them. And
Sure.
I'm not going to say, like, he must make this move. Kyle Davidson is very much going to stick to his plan.
It's on the table.
But I think it would go a long way to say, hey, we suffered an injury that's going to hurt the team. He's going to be out a month or whatever. Let's see what we can do. Let's make this team better. Why not?
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
And Vancouver's in a position where they're up against it. So taking that contract off their hands is not.
Right, you tell them we'll take the whole salary and then we'll give you a 4th rounder.
Yeah.
How do they say no to that?
Well, and then you might, get something in return.
And Jason Dick. Well, I mean, we got
besides Connor Garland,
we got Jason Dickinson in a 2nd-round pick
for Riley Stillman.
Right. So they for $2 million are cap relief. What would they do for almost 5?
That's a good question.
It's worth a call. It's worth exploring what it is.
It's definitely worth a
You can't tell me
call.
Garland wouldn't say, "Yeah, I go to the Blackhawks."
Right, exactly.
Gio owes us $1. He said, "How much longer is Kaner out for?" $1 super chat, please.
Yeah,
forever.
$1 super chat. Speaking of super chats, let's knock all these out.
Let's get it.
We are.
Steven, you want to do the honors? We haven't heard your voice in a while.
Sure. First one from Nate. Came a little bit ago. Sorry for the wait there. $4.99. Without Hall, the ice shrinks. Athanasu is not a finisher, and the teams can cheat. Dickinson can't pick that fight in a 1-goal game. Down and forward. Be smart.
I don't argue the first point.
No.
The second point. Listen, it was a dirty hit. If it comes after a clean hit, I hate fights after clean hit.
On record is hating that.
It was a shitty hit from a shitty hockey player. That's right. And whoever you are, I've already forgotten your name.
John Beecher.
Sure.
And the penalty wasn't called.
Right. If the refs did their job correctly and called the penalty right there, I don't think Dickinson goes in guns ablaze.
By the way, pausing you quickly, you're right. If you're a ref and you see that, the hand goes up, then you discuss.
Sure.
And say, hey, I want to make sure I saw that right. Did you see the boarding the way I did? Yes, we did. Great. Because in doing that, you're probably preventing Dickinson from doing that. You're potentially preventing an injury to Dickinson or Beecher fighting. Right. Someone falls, hits her head on the ice. Someone gets her face smashed open.
Right.
If in doubt, call it. If the opportunity exists for you to discuss the penalty, when in doubt, call it. It's safer for everybody. You don't know if Gutman's hurt. There's a million reasons why you default to the call and then have the discussion instead of put your hands in your pocket, watch two guys fight, watch a guy lay on the ice, and then talk about it.
And then go, well, there must have been a reason for Dickinson to want to fight there. Oh, yeah, there was that boarding that we just
that obvious, blatant boarding.
Yeah. The refs were I'm not a guy that loves to bitch and moan about refs. There's bad calls in every game, but the refs were atrocious.
It was really bad today.
Yeah, this was a visibly bad night for the refs, but I mean, there's too much of a let them play mentality in that aspect of the game from refs. I agree, Jay. It's too logical to say call the penalty, then take it away if you feel like that's necessary, rather than not calling it, having more brouhaha, and then you go back and look at it. It's okay. There's too much logic there. Yep. Anyways, continue. McBaconator?
Yeah, this is going to be a theme on a lot of the super chats. For McBaconator, $5. What do y'all think about the 10-minute misconduct? I thought the refs made the whole thing a lot more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah, they did, but unfortunately, with the instigator call, it's automatic. They followed the rules there, but they didn't follow the rules on the Beecher boarding to start.
Right. And again, like you've said several times, if the call's initially made, Dickinson knowing Dickinson, he probably just says, all right.
He doesn't go look at a fight. He may go in there and shove him.
Yeah, he might give him a bear hug or something.
Yeah. Right, but he doesn't go in there guns blazing, I don't think.
Yeah.
We can ask him next time we talk to him.
Another one from one of our loyal listeners, Brandon Sikora, $5. Why wasn't there a power play for the cross-check? Get rid of the instigator, let them play. French-Canadian refs stink.
I don't think it's a specifically French-Canadian thing, but yep, good point.
We
got a $5 from Mike Tolley or Tolley. Don't understand how you could call an instigator after not immediately calling the boarding. Dickinson did his job for them. Immediately calling the boarding would have avoided the fight.
Correct.
You're not wrong.
You guys have already nailed that one on the head.
I think I've heard that before.
Windy City Hockey. Soderblom was outstanding, and the refs were brutal.
Yes.
Agreed. $1 per right statement.
Yes.
What's Alan K got to say?
Alan K. Shout out to PPG Arena for offering pierogies at concessions. Korchinski and Bedardsky would approve, but I must chirp $8 Dunkin' coffee.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
That's steep.
That is a little
tough.
cheap.
At that point, just get a beer.
Yeah, right.
I do have to say, though, the Pittsburgh airport, I was pleasantly surprised at how reasonable the Dunkin' Donuts was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2 donuts and a large coffee for under $6 at an airport Dunkin' Donuts.
I got the second. I did
It's
my
probably 'cause it was
favorite thing
5
is
a.m.
Well, yeah. They were like, you poor bastard. The sun's not even going to be out for another 3 hours. We're not even going to charge you for the donuts.
my favorite thing is the little bag, the 10 Munchkin bag. I got that and a coffee for $6. Great stuff. And then young Dangle God kicks in his buck.
Yep.
There you go.
He says, so you're
Right
telling
on
me the
cue.
Hawks need a skilled forward to fill in a line with Bedard? Guys, come on. It's like we don't even have to try today. Thank you for your $1, young Dangle God. All right.
We're just throwing you softballs. That's all.
We're going to update the 4-star voting, and it's starting to turn into a runaway here. Connor Bedard leads with 50% of the vote, Arvid Soderblom with 40%, and Kevin Korchinski with 10% of the vote. Let's spend a little more time on Soderblom, because I think we've been so distracted all preseason and all camp with Connor Bedard and all things Connor Bedard that I think some of the other stories have kind of fallen by the wayside. And Mrazek was great last night, absolutely terrific. And I really think I wasn't sure what to expect from Soderblom tonight because we saw him last year early on play really well, and then as the workload started to get to him, he kind of started to crumble and fall apart a little bit and showed that he wasn't quite NHL ready yet. Super impressed with his performance. We make that comparison to Corey Crawford a lot because of the way he is so strong positionally. He's got those big long pads, all those sort of things. But again, showing that poise, right? Like there were a lot of times where in this game things were chaotic in the Blackhawks zone, and he certainly could have gotten rattled, certainly could have gotten distracted, and I think he played really, really well. And as we sort of predicted, that this goalie thing this year, it's gonna be like it's kind of a toss up. And I still think that eventually Soderblom's gonna leapfrog Mrazek. I don't know if it's been 2 games, but I'm just really impressed with just the poise that this kid plays with.
Yeah, I think the Blackhawks definitely have a vision for him for the future. He's a young guy, was tossed into some really difficult situations last year. First game this year, really good outing. The 2 goals he did give up, the first one, that's just a really good tip by Trent Frederick there. That shot was going wide, and then it changes direction. So that's very hard for the goalie to adjust to that at that split-second moment and make the save. It's on a tip like that, it's just luck if you make the save at that point. And then the 2-on-1, it's David Pastrnak sniping on you on a play that Wyatt Kaiser, who we can also maybe spend some time on, he's got to know that puck is never going back to Milan Lucic on a 2-on-1.
Or let it.
Right.
Yeah. And
I dare you to.
or say that. Yeah.
And to be fair, the textbook coaching is always take away the pass. Always on
Sure,
a 2-on-1 is you take away the passing option.
Yeah, but not this time.
But but again, like, and this is something
exceptions
that
to the rule.
I don't expect. Look, any young defenseman would probably make the same play.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
Yeah.
it's a 2-on-1.
It's ingrained in his.
Yeah, my job on a 2-on-1 is to take away the pass. Fine. But as he matures and any of these guys mature, you're going to say, that's David Pastrnak.
Yeah, recognizing.
That's Milan Lucic. I'm just going to close in on Pastrnak and try to take that shot away.
Just go tackle him.
Because even if he gets a pass through,
It's Milan Lucic.
it's Milan Lucic.
Right, yeah.
All right,
And look, and if Lucic makes a play, good on it. Good
let
on
Milan
you.
Lucic beat you, not David Pastrnak.
But 99 of 100 times, Pasa's shooting that puck,
Yeah,
as he should.
100%.
So I'm not critical of. I probably was a little too hard on him on Twitter. A young defenseman's going to do what Kaiser did every time.
he's not on Twitter. He'll be fine.
I think he went down too soon. I will say that.
Sure.
But he did the right thing by the book. As these guys get older, I think some like context to the moment.
Teachable moment.
Like if it's Nathan McKinnon
Yeah.
and Joe Blow, take away Nathan
When did
McKinnon.
they sign him?
He's available.
Oh, I guess so.
Big cap hit, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Joe Blow. It's American for Jonathan Duran.
Sure. Yeah, I think, Kaiser, he's still, getting his feet wet in the NHL. It's going to take some time to get that situational awareness. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of reacting on instinct, in which, we talked earlier about what Daryl Belfry had to say about, Korchinski and young players reacting on instinct and how it can be a good thing. It's also something that you can kind of learn, and as the more you play in the NHL, your instincts will develop differently. And as you get more used to playing against, guys of NHL caliber talent, you get to probably recognize a little bit more of, who's coming at you, when and where. And that situational awareness can grow. But getting back to Soderblom, I think it was a pretty impressive night. And you know what? I would rather have the Blackhawks be in a situation where the goaltending decisions come down to who's playing better rather than who's less crap. It's just my personal preference.
Yeah, I think
Less crap is my favorite overnight host.
it's a real thing.
It's really good.
That really happened once. Somebody had to clean up that less crap. So, oh boy, I forgot my point. Doesn't matter. It probably wasn't a good point anyway. No, I think we all said it before the season started. We predict Soderblom is going to get more starts at the end of the year because, unfortunately, we were all expecting Peter Mrazek to get another injury. I'm not rooting for it.
No,
I won't be happy if and when it happens.
Is.
Mrazek was super happy, and you're happy for a guy like that in the locker room after the Pittsburgh win. He's been through a lot. So, but I think Soderblom will get more. All things equal, Mrazek doesn't get injured. Soderblom stays healthy. I think Soderblom gets it just because he'll be the better of the two as the season goes on. And plus, he's the guy that actually has possibly a future here.
Right.
Peter Mrazek is done after this year being with the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
So, Soderblom is a guy that they think, at the very least, could be, Drew Comesso's very good backup.
Yeah.
Or he could
tandem.
Could be a tandem, or he could be the guy of the future.
Sure.
They don't know. So he'll get more starts this year. I've seen him a lot in Rockford over the last 2 seasons. He's a guy that it seems that the games where he faces more shots, the better he is. There's so many games in Rockford where he was facing 40, 45, 47 shots, and the Ice Hogs win 2-1.
Right. So,
a night like tonight where his team's getting grossly outchanced and outshot, he probably thought he was back at the BMO Center.
Yeah.
And he was comfortable. So good for him. Great start to the season. Can't complain about the goaltending. And honestly, there's not much to complain about, period, after these last 2 games. There's nothing to be. We're not beating the table saying, oh my God, this has to get better. No, we want the kids that matter to improve. So we're going to point out their mistakes. So the next time they're in that kind of a situation, we hope that, those mistakes aren't repeated. And as far as the Kaiser play, we were all kind of like, you got to go get Pasternak. But to your point, Jay, which is a very good point, he's a young kid that's told, take away the pass, take away the pass.
Yep.
So there was probably instinct at that point, not realizing. He probably got down on the ice and then went, shit. Probably shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And that's a teachable moment. Luke Richardson loves those teachable moments. Kaiser has been not great the first 2 games, but he's not been a complete train wreck either.
No.
It's a little overmatched at times.
There's no reason to give him the hook.
No, three penalties in 2 games is not, even though one of them was a garbage call.
Right.
Not great.
He drew one today, though.
Yeah, there were a couple questionable passes, but again, these are all things that could be coached out of him, and with more experience, hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'd still, if the option is, yeah, sure, we're gonna sit Kaiser for a game, and then you put Nikita Zaitsev out there. That's a lot.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Kaiser at his worst.
That'll do him any good.
That's a lateral move. Even Kaiser at his worst, replace him with Zaitsev at best is a lateral move. And where does Kaiser get those learning moments?
Yeah, you also have Kaiser playing with Tenorti, so it's
Well, and look,
that
goal
that's different
was
than
a Tenorti mistake.
Yeah, and that's different than playing with Connor Murphy and Seth Jones.
Yeah.
If you miss the moment, Tenorti had the chance along the boards, right about just short of the center ice line, to get it up the boards and into the Hawks offensive zone or just out of danger. Instead, he kind of threw it up the middle of the ice and led to the turnover, and then led to the 2-on-1 where Kaiser was sort of forced to make that decision. Those are the sort of things that I don't want Jared Tenorti doing. Jared Tenorti is the guy who 100% of the time make the safe play. I like Jared Tenorti. Mm-hmm. You're not Kevin Korchinski, though.
Right.
You're not a guy who's going to be a puck mover, a stretch passer. Your job is to not make mistakes. And tonight he made a mistake. Wyatt Kaiser is a guy who kind of ends up wearing it because he's got to defend the 2-on-1. That was on Tenorti more than anything. Yeah. So
he put the young kid in a bad situation.
Yeah.
By making a boneheaded play. Over the course of an 82-game season, you're going to see that a lot. You're going to see veterans and young players make boneheaded plays. It happens. It's part of the game. Just don't repeatedly make them. And if Kaiser struggles, then, get him back down to Rockford where he can get some confidence. And then bring Isaac Phillips, who still looks NHL ready to me, and let him play a few games. There's plenty of options there. You don't have to settle for one outcome.
Yeah. A couple of questions in the chat about Adam Guyon. He is in the USHL with
years away
with Green Bay. He is enrolled at Minnesota Duluth. So plenty of time for him to.
He's 19.
Grow up and play goalie
right
at some higher levels before he's anywhere near the NHL.
We're talking 4 to 5 seasons before you're even putting that in the conversation.
Yeah, right? if you have a goaltender who's in the USHL this year, they're far away.
Yeah, you figure he's going to go
take time,
play this year, go to Duluth next year, 3 years minimum,
probably
at Duluth.
Yeah, maybe 4.
Camesso had 2 at Boston.
3 years.
He did do. All right, it was 3. Yeah, so goalies
take time.
You just let them. Let them
marinate,
ferment in the in college and the minors. Yeah, there's no time, not in the discussion yet. Nice prospect to have. Yeah. He got beat up the other night.
But his first few games were pretty good.
Yeah, it's the USHL. Like, it's not a great league to be a goalie in because there's a lot of offensive firepower down there.
Yeah.
All right, before we take our first break and get
second break,
thank you, and get to Connor's corner, I think we're ready to call the 4-star of the game. We're going to give it to Connor Bedard. Sorry, I didn't wait for the drum roll.
Lots of
to Connor Bedard. He's got 50% of the vote. Arvid Soderblom with 40 and Kevin Korchinski with 10. Y'all are doing Korchinski dirty. He's played really well the last 2 games.
He did good
like
tonight.
What I've seen from him. But congrats to Connor Bedard, who the biggest honor of his career is being named the 4-star of the night on the CHGO
More honors
Blackhawks
to come.
podcast. He gets a Seiko watch.
Sure.
Honors for Connor.
Sure.
You know what else he needs? Some Hrem power.
Is that how you say that?
Hrem. That's how Borat says it.
I felt like I was at a Rammstein concert.
Yeah. Not sure he's saying the same thing.
What? What else could it possibly mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, if you are, now we've got some fantastic news for you. Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake have joined these idiots at the CHGO team. At Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories and find unforgettable savings. And right now, during Ram Power Days at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, only in Fox Lake, you'll be able to secure 0% financing or 17% off new Ram models. But that's not all. Now through October 31st, explore their newly renovated showroom and take advantage of limited time 7-year anniversary savings. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, then you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they're the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, you can head on over to raycdjr.com today, serving the community since 1963.
There's no use of the word Ram in this read, unfortunately.
Improvise. You
I'll
can
find
make
something.
It.
But
I believe in you.
there are some delicious beers involved in this read because they come from the Goose Island Beer Company. Goose Island is the proud beer sponsor for us here at CHGO, and they have been Chicago's beer since 1988. And they have a wonderful list of year-round beers to offer, including the Full Pocket Pills, the 312 Wheat Ale, the golden cans that are the staple of their beer roster, and you also have the family of Beer Hug IPAs. So many delicious beers. I know the Blackhawks Pale Ale is going to return to shelves pretty soon here, so keep an eye out on that.
You know what I miss?
What do you miss?
Honkers.
You miss Honkers?
Honkers Ale.
Honkers Ale. There it is. Hopefully that can quench your thirst for Honkers. Where was I?
Speaking of Ram Power.
Grab all of these beers. Grab all these beers, not anything else. Ultra fresh brewery exclusives at the Goose Island Original Brew House on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park. Or you can go to their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Again, that is the Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. I am tired.
All right, let's go to Connor's Corner. Let's go visit, shall we? There it is.
We need like some
Maybe
music
a little,
for this.
yeah.
There's
Yeah,
got to
like
be
a
like a
little,
nice.
like the little Jack in the Box music or something like that.
Well,
Something rights free, so we don't get
yeah,
sued.
I was gonna
Something
say,
that's in the public domain.
yeah.
I'll come up with something.
All right, tonight, Connor Bedard.
Or just like some
another
children's laughter.
Solid game. Goal ended up a -1, 21:44 of ice time. Took a penalty, 6 shots on goal, missed shot, a hit, and won 50% of his 12 faceoffs. Very, very solid. If we want to look at the fancy stats, which we like to do, his
Fancy.
expected goals for percentage was 50.88. Very, very solid. If you want to look at his possession, perfectly even on the Fenwick with a 50%. So he's on the ice for 15 shot attempts for and 15 shot attempts against. That's at even strength 5-on-5. So not as good as he was against Pittsburgh in terms of the analytics, but gets that first goal out of the way. And, man, you could see the relief kind of in his face. Like they mentioned on the broadcast, like he's never gone this long without a goal.
Well,
When you factor in the preseason and
okay, sure.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
It was on- you could tell it was
he had
on his
the
mind.
empty netter, so there was a goal
Yeah, but
there,
it was
even
a-
though
you
it
could tell it
doesn't
was on
count
his
in
mind.
his mind.
He
It was
even
on his
said
mind.
yesterday after the game, like, even though I'm struggling to score goals.
Yeah,
like,
right,
Come on,
right.
kid. Like, yeah, no, but that's it's
I
the
wa-
longer it went
Yeah,
with him not getting a goal, the more pressure comes on. And
I
it's
was
so good for
I
him.
was very happy that it was like a real goal for him. Like
a great play.
It was a really good play. And people are just like, oh, it was just a wraparound. Like, no. Watch the 20 seconds that lead up to that goal. It's encompassing of the things that he can do with
Why
the
does
puck.
everything have to be like? It was just a wraparound. What are you talking about? Like, what does
Jay,
he have to do?
people want to hate Connor Bedard.
It's ridiculous.
People
I saw
want to hate him.
By the way, someone called it out. The DNVR and PHNX people were talking about it today. It was Eric says, just to stir the pot, or Edward, sorry, just to stir the pot, PHNX with a Denver guest host made salty comments about Bedard coverage and their evaluation of the Hawks today.
That's
Here's
fine.
the deal.
Tough shit. Change the channel then.
I have some delicious French fries for your salt.
They would, in a heartbeat, they would trade their entire roster for Connor Bedard.
So the team that has Cale Makar on the cover of NHL 24 is mad that they're like, come on,
yeah.
find something else to complain about.
It's fine.
Colorado Avalanche have nothing to worry about in the near future with Connor Bedard. Go worry about contending for a cup. You're fine. Like, yeah. It is just people looking for reasons to not like Connor Bedard. And if you are a fan of hockey, I mean, not to continuously like put him up on this pedestal, but like he's kind of like the right kind of like superstar in the making that the NHL can have. He's not problematic. He's not like some divisive, boisterous guy that's gonna, make all the old whites mad. You can have him, crack a small joke and have us, make the Chicago media laugh, and just be a guy who just wants to be great at hockey. And the NHL, for as bad as they are at marketing their superstars, they now have one. Here is a fresh superstar that you can market and build up as the future of the game. And every time he does something highlight worthy, highlight it. Highlight the shit out of it.
You had him on the Pat McAfee show.
He was on Pat McAfee.
And which I'm not a fan of Pat McAfee, but just the idea that...
When's the last time they had a hockey player
I don't know.
on Pat McAfee?
I don't watch his show, so I couldn't tell you.
Maybe during the playoffs.
But, like, you've got people who don't pay attention to hockey are paying attention to hockey because of him, and that's a good thing.
I was looking something up. Did you mention the ratings?
We haven't yet.
Last night's game was the highest rated regular season cable hockey game ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever. Shut up. Quit crying. If Phoenix or Denver or whoever else got Connor Bedard, you would all be doing the same thing. And we know I think it's all in fun for the most part, but
get
over it.
Whatever. Yeah.
I mean,
get over it.
Yeah, you could complain about the coverage all you want. You obviously watched it.
Yeah.
You obviously watched it, so yeah, it's
and people saying that like, oh, McDavid didn't get this covered. It's and yeah, how many times since 2015 have people been banging the table for the NHL to get Connor McDavid to become a household name,
right,
not just in Canada?
Yeah, but we don't know what it was like in his rookie year on Sportsnet and TSN up there. I'm sure it was all over the place for him.
I mean, we were watching Connor McDavid. We were there. Yeah. We were paying attention. Yeah. He was around a lot, but
and guess what? I love watching Connor McDavid play.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's in the league. I'm glad he gets the coverage he gets because he's freaking an awesome hockey player.
Right.
How can you love the game of hockey and be pissed off about the coverage of Connor Bedard?
It's because they hate the Blackhawks.
Whatever.
Right.
So, like, and I get that, fine, hate the Blackhawks. There's a lot of teams I hate. Like, if Connor Bedard was on the Rangers, I'd be rolling my eyes going, oh, God, here he is again.
Sure,
I
right.
understand that. You don't like the Blackhawks. Don't like the Blackhawks. I don't give a shit. But don't hate the kid because he just plays for a team you don't like. You can hate that he's on the Blackhawks and still go.
That's what a majority of the people are doing it for.
Yeah, you could hate the Blackhawks, but still go, you know what? I hate that he's on that team, but damn, do I love watching him play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Sorry, we got sidetracked. I don't want to fight with straw people. There's no point. We have a question from Cricket that I also got asked on Twitter today, so I'm going to do my best to define this. What is expected goals is basically the question.
Goals that are expected to be scored.
Yes. If you know what Fenwick and Corsi are, those are shot attempts for and against. That's what the percentage makes. Okay, so anytime a player advances the puck on or towards the net, it counts as a Fenwick Fenwick is the one that counts block shots, right?
Fenwick
counts block shots.
Counting block shots.
Yes. Okay. So expected goals uses that and applies different characteristics to those stats, including shot location, shot types, and other relevant descriptors. I'm reading this from NovaCapsFans.com. Each shot is then given a value based on success rates for that specific shot type and location becoming a goal based on years of historical data for the shot location and type. Expected goals for percentage is simply a ratio of a team's XGF in comparison to the opposition. Anything over 50% indicates a team had more quality shots than the opposition for a game, a period, etc. There is also individual expected goals for. So that's another stat you can look at as well. So
which only
here's
tracks
the deal.
The player making the play.
Hockey metrics are extremely imperfect.
Yes, they are.
They are a way to, over the course of a season, dig in and kind of say, okay, what kind of an impact does a player make? Game to game, it's not super important. Hockey is pinball. There is so much randomness to the game. Everyone's just trying to do their best to measure some way to quantify this stuff. It's not baseball where it's a series of events, right? That hockey's very hard to make this work.
You're trying to predict the unpredictable.
Exactly. So people, and typically it's people outside of the organized NHL world that come up with these things, and then the league adopts them in their own sort of way. But it's just basically a way that measures shot quality in comparison to how the opponent did. So the percentages are, if it's 50, it was a perfect split player versus opponent, or team versus opponent, rather.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know it's confusing.
Don't feel
No,
bad, Cricket.
it's fine.
I don't fully understand expected goals and all this. I try.
Sometimes
some of them it's a little.
Yeah.
It goes above my head.
Sometimes there's stats that you just know, oh, the higher the number, the better. Okay.
That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
Is our number on the XFGTPG higher than their number on the XFGT? It is? Okay. Did we win the game? Yes. Cool.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to go to natural stat trick and play around, basically anything over 50 is good. Mm-hmm. Anything under 50 is less than good, and the lower under 50 it gets, the worse your game was.
Right.
That's the very easy way to put it.
Natural stat trick has a glossary that
it helps
fairly layman's terms. That gets you breaks it down.
Yeah.
Even,
I would like
even
to
an
put
idiot like me can understand.
I would like to put the blue line guy on the show to explain that method, because I do think that's a really interesting way to quantify it. HockeyStatCards.com. The guy's name is Cole Palmer. We should if we got like 3 or 4 days off in a row, maybe throw him on the show and get kind of a breakdown of what he uses to build those lines.
Blue line.
Because I think those are a fun way to really look at the game.
Yeah, that's based off of game score, and it takes into effect both positive and negative things that are done offensively, defensively, impacts in transition and things like that. There's a lot of little nuance. Basically, it tries to track like basically every play every player makes and the impact it has on the game individually. So like when you have, like if you look at hockey stat cards on social media, you'll see different colors, different shades of blue lines going to the right and to the right and to the left. And sometimes you can have them, going all one way to the left is very bad. That means
that's Erik Karlsson.
That was Erik Karlsson last night. And then you can have them going all the way to the right, which is very good, which is what Connor Bedard did tonight. And then sometimes you have them like where it's really just small, and it's like, the player didn't really do too much, and then it's wide both ways, and it's just like that person was a wagon last night. So, it's different how it tracks the game, but that one is another one where it's just like a positive number is better than a negative number.
Yes. All right, we need to pay off Who's Your Hawk, but first, we're going to tell you about our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah.
The NFL season's going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger like bull. Haram. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this October. Bears, Vikings, do it. Put your life savings on the Bears. Don't do that, please. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that code CHGO. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's code CHGO. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, licensee partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance, naturally. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. And now,
good job.
It is time to crown the DraftKings King of the Game.
There
There it is.
And the king of the game is, you're never going to guess, Conrad Bedard. 1 goal, 6 shots, 21-44 of ice time. What did the guy at the airport call him? Did he say Bedard?
Yeah, Bedard.
You guys got that Bedard guy.
That
Yes.
Bedard guy.
We have hired the Avalanche head coach to be our top line center.
There you go.
We should also pay off yesterday's pick of the week from DraftKings.
Oh, yeah? How'd it go?
It went swell.
Beautiful.
Over under 2.5 shots for Connor Bedard.
Conrad
Bedard. Smash the over. If it's ever set at 2.5
It's
again,
not going to be,
DraftKings needs to learn their lesson. They're going to lose a lot of money on those bets.
If you see it under four, hammer it.
He's got 11
go
shots
for it.
in 2 days.
Yeah.
And like 22
What was it?
shot
The
attempts.
preseason was 350?
To get to 350 shots, he'd have to average 4.25 per game.
He's gonna get.
We told you that it was free money.
He's gonna get there by Valentine's Day.
He's at 5.5 per game over 2 games. So yeah, we'll keep abreast of the line coming up on Saturday. But I would assume DraftKings will say maybe it's 3.5, and we'll see. We'll see there. But yeah,
Oh boy, the Canucks are just beating on the Oilers right now.
really? Oh, maybe Connor
trick for
Garland doesn't
Brock
want to go
Besser.
anywhere.
All right. What do we got left?
We got another crown.
We got
to
one more
give out
super
tonight.
chat.
Ah, yes. Let's get to the super
young
chat.
Dangle got it again. You'll never guess what it is. No, but I'm in the market for a new first line winger. Wink, wink.
That's fine.
It's
Keep giving us your money,
it's
man.
dollars, man.
It's
We
your
will take
dollar,
them.
yeah.
Thank
Put
you.
my kids through college. All right. Let's pay it off. I didn't win, so I don't want to.
Where's the
Someone
helmet?
else do it.
Oh, it's over here.
Oh, good.
I didn't win. I'm
I've got the
pouting.
helmet. The helmet's safe.
All right. Who's your hawk?
What were our picks? Nobody had a point tonight.
I went with Corey Perry because I was riding a hot hand, and I felt with Brad Marchand there and other various pudwhacks that our pudwhack would come in strong. Not a good game for Corey Perry. Not a factor in this one.
No. I had Lucas Reichel. He had a couple shots on goal, but no major impact.
I went with Seth Jones. I thought there was a power play goal going to come tonight. So nobody got a point. So then we got to go to our tie-breaking system when there are no points. We've changed the rules a little bit.
Super
I
sophisticated.
don't know if you mentioned it last night. Nobody picked Bedard tonight. That's why he scored.
Right. Yeah.
keep doing that.
Our rule about Bedard is the same guy can't have him on consecutive nights.
Right.
So I couldn't have picked him if I wanted to. Even though he was available for me, I couldn't pick him because I had him last night.
And I definitely galaxy brained it with Reichel.
So, had you picked Bedard, you'd be getting the helmet right now.
Uh,
But our rule is like if we have guys that like each have assists and we're tied, we'll rule like it was a primary is more important than a secondary, stuff like that. But nobody had points, so the tiebreaker goes to the total number of plus minus shots on goal, hits and block shots for all 3 of our players. Whoever has the highest number wins. Corey Perry a -2, 1 shot on goal, -1. It was a hell of a run, Jay.
Not going to get it done.
Lucas Reichel, what did he do tonight? He was a -1, 2 shots on goal, no hits, no blocks. So that's 1. Seth Jones, -1, no shots on goal, had a hit and 4 block shots. So I am taking home the win. I got to get my helmet
Yeah.
Give yourself some helmet.
because
Seth Jones earned that for you.
of Seth Jones's 4 block shots. It tells you how great it was offensively
Did
tonight.
we cover up the nail? I don't think we did.
No.
Just
we did
no
not.
one ever, when like someone has that helmet on, no one slapped the top of the
Yeah,
helmet.
It's not a
absolutely
nail.
not.
It's like a ridge. We got to put a piece of foam on.
It'll be dead.
Yeah.
We got to baby proof it.
Get a
If only
sponge.
there was some padding in that helmet.
Yeah, and now I know why the padding was there. But
We could have taken your
Yes.
air mattress
So-
home from.
That's true.
so
Yeah.
I win tonight for picking Seth Jones. There were some Seth Jones haters in here earlier because there always are.
What?
Suck it. I win. Hate on that.
With that, let's wrap things up.
Yeah.
It has been a long 48 hours.
I'm so-
Actually, more than that.
I'm so tired.
Hey, thank y'all
Totally
for
worth
being with us last night and today. We appreciate that very, very much. Do us a favor, a couple favors actually. If you've not hit that like button, please do it right now. If you're listening on the podcast, head over to our YouTube page, subscribe, and like whatever podcast you see, including ours.
All the videos.
If you're watching on YouTube, open up your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever, hit follow. And if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. We need some cross help. And we know we have people who are habitual. I only watch the podcast on YouTube. I only listen to it on my podcast app. Give us the old switcheroo today. Go on your foreign app, give it a like, give it a follow, all that great stuff. It goes a super long way. It really, really does. We appreciate that. So we're back Saturday. Pre-game?
Back Friday.
Back Friday.
Friday, thank you. My days are all off.
No show tomorrow. We are all sleeping tomorrow.
Yes. Friday at 2, we're back for a regular show. Then we got a game Saturday night.
Yep.
Montreal.
Pre-game.
Yep.
And
Pre-game
postgame.
Pre-game and
postgame on
post-game.
Saturday.
And I saw some folks asking for a watch-along. We'll do that very soon. We'll
Baby
make that
steps.
happen.
We just introduced pre-games. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
one thing at a time.
Yeah, one thing at a time, but it'll certainly happen, I would say sooner than later.
Yeah.
So look forward to that as well. So we really want to thank everybody, though, for their huge support
Absolutely.
over these first 2 games. And I hope you enjoyed the Pittsburgh trip. And keep an eye out. Friday we're dropping that?
I think so.
Mario, all respect to Mario. He did this all himself. Documented our trip to Pittsburgh and did an incredible job putting the entire thing together. I couldn't do this in 100 years, and he did it in one day. It looks awesome. It'll be out Friday. You're not going to want to miss it, so keep your eye out for that. And until then, we'll talk to you. It's 2 o'clock Friday. That's the next time you get to see our lovely, hopefully more rested faces. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks to Steven for running the show and for getting us through Pittsburgh. We appreciate him, as always, and thank you for listening and watching the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.